Good morning. It is 9:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, available at betterwater.com. Great local company. Go support those guys because they support us. We got a lot to get to today. But before we came on the air, I got, as Murphy would say, squirreled. I got distracted. Did Stefano Di Pietro say that we got snowflakes possible? Did I hear that right? I heard the word flakes.
I heard the word flakes, too.
Was he discussing dandruff in the weather report, or was he talking about snow?
I sure hope that's what it is, because, oh my goodness, I do not want to deal with any more snow right now.
I want spring. Can we have actually spring now? I'm tired of the fake springs. I thought we were only going to get one fake spring, but now we've had several fake springs.
I think we're up to 4 now.
We're at 4 fake springs. We're going for the all-time record.
Welcome to Tennessee.
It's unbelievable. I'm not a fan.
I'm not seeing anything on snow.
All right, so he's lying to us.
I sure hope so, man.
Or we were Van Gogh listening. I said that to Dan earlier. Van Gogh listening. Shout out to the great one, Uncle Phil. We got a lot to get to today, including Trump versus judges and the Tesla protests coming to a neighborhood near you. Have you seen this, that we're going to get Tesla protests in Tennessee? It's not the first time that we've had Tesla protests in Tennessee. They were supposed to happen last weekend with the severe weather. They ended up canceling the ones in Chattanooga and in Franklin, but they did do the protest in Knoxville, Tennessee. Friend of the show, Bo Diddle, as he goes by on Twitter and YouTube, he was down there, and not a lot of people showed up, and now they're staging more protests. I wonder what the one in Franklin is going to look like. That's going to happen on Saturday, the 22nd. So I'm looking forward to it. I know that there's big nationwide protests against Tesla planned for the 29th, but I'm really more focused on the 22nd. A Facebook group, Indivisible Tennessee, has been promoting this, and Indivisible, the Indivisible networks, the Indivisible movement, the National Indivisible movement, began in 2016, and a lot of people say you got Soros money backing those indivisible groups. Now, it's indirectly, okay? So there's plausible deniability for the Indivisible network. They deny it all the time that they're Soros-funded, but they got a lot of links, almost too many links. Nationally, the Indivisible network, it includes groups like the Indivisible Project, Indivisible Civics. This is the protests are being promoted on Indivisible Tennessee's Facebook page. And they've been tied to Soros's Open Society Foundations because they've been, Soros has provided grants to the Tides Foundation, which then in turn supported Indivisible Civics, which is an arm of the Indivisible network. So it's indirect funding, but you can absolutely make the argument that Soros funds the Indivisible network right here in Tennessee. And when we see protests at the Chattanooga and the Franklin and the Knoxville Tesla dealerships on Saturday, that's a Soros protest. We had a caller yesterday, Adam from the borough, nice enough guy. I'm not knocking Adam. Like we disagree on politics, but he says nobody gets paid for these protests. And I just think back to the Joker in The Dark Knight. It's like, well, if you're good at something, don't do it for free, because I think there's money out there for you to do these protests personally. And Soros throws a lot of money at these networks. Locally, Indivisible Tennessee, they're associated with a bunch of activism in Knoxville and Nashville, and they have organizers. One of them is Renata Soto. She's been involved as an organizer. Soto is a Nashville resident. She is a former chair of the National Council of La Raza, which is now Unidos US. And she led that organization, and that organization received significant Soros funding over the year, almost more than $2 million annually. Her role as the Indivisible organizer in 2016, they've pointed to that as a connection to the Soros funding. Again, circumstantial. The Indivisible networks deny it. But, when there's smoke, there may be fire. So these protests that are coming to Tennessee when it comes to Tesla, I just go back to what everybody else is saying. I do believe that it is Soros-backed. You can make the argument for, you can make the argument against, but I think that they funnel those money through different networks on purpose, so that way they have that plausible deniability. but we're going to see that. We're going to see that in Tennessee. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, I'll put up the flyer that they have that they've posted. Libs of TikTok covered this, and Libs of TikTok, she's a sweetheart. But this is the Facebook post if you're watching on Super Talk TV. All right, folks, weather looking good for this Saturday. We're going to do this Tesla takedown, indivisible guide. And Saturday, March 22nd, 1 p.m. local time, Memphis, Franklin, Chattanooga, Knoxville. We will have a friend who's going to be going to the protests in Franklin. So we'll have a full report on those come Monday, should they turn into anything. Though I will say that the one in Knoxville, it looked like maybe 20 or 30 people, a bunch of clowns and soy boys. Actually, no, I heard Chad say the other day, he's like, I don't even want to call them clowns. I feel like that besmirches clowns, and I tend to agree. But the attacks on the Tesla dealerships ramp up, and it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere anytime soon. Pam Bondi was on Fox News yesterday, and she called it what we all see it as. These are not isolated individual events. This is what we're looking at when it comes to the Tesla dealerships, my friends. Well, it's domestic terrorism. You want to give me a little audio, Mason? Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, I want to ask you about these attacks on Tesla taking place across the country. You've recently said that they are acts of domestic terrorism.
Yes.
Obviously, in bringing up the concept of domestic terrorism, I would think that opens up your department and the FBI into investigating who is funding these attacks. Are they organized? What can you tell us about all of this, which many are seeing on their screen right now at Tesla dealerships, and it's taking place all over the country?
These attacks are taking place throughout our country. We have charged multiple people. Get ready, more coming. One we charged in Oregon is facing 5 to 20 years in prison. We filed in Colorado. We filed in South Carolina. There are more coming. And yes, the funding is one thing we are looking at among many others. I was personally in a meeting about it this morning. We are coming after you. We believe these are organized. These are not individuals out there throughout the country doing this on their own. They're targeting Tesla owners. They're targeting Tesla dealerships. They're targeting Elon Musk, who is out there trying to save our country, and it will not be tolerated. We are coming after you. We will find you. And if you are an organized group who is funding this, we're going to find you too. You better look out and you better stop it.
I like the energy from Pam Bondi. I want to see the results, though, and I want to see the investigations into these networks of funding that a lot of people point to George Soros. I wonder if we can get Pam Bondi and Attorney General Skermetti to look into the Indivisible group on Facebook who's organizing these protests and ask them, where's the funding coming from? And it's not just the Indivisible group. You're seeing Antifa networks sharing step-by-step guides online on how to actually make incendiary devices to burn down Tesla vehicles and other cars in targeted domestic terror attacks. They're doing this to intimidate you, obviously. And the intimidation is for political means. This is the definition of domestic terrorism. And you can see these posts if you're watching on Super Talk TV. Don't use Molotovs. Some notes on safely burning Teslas or other cars. And then there's a whole link with a step-by-step guide. And you go into these guides, and it says, oh, seeing the wave of Tesla arsons has made us incredibly happy. This is an Antifa website. But we're worried that many of these attacks have used Molotovs. Molotovs aren't guaranteed to ignite or explode. Okay. Can we go after these people? There have been many cases where police have recovered intact Molotov cocktails from attacks. That is a blank ton of forensic evidence that detectives will exploit. How do these guys keep getting away with this? Even if the bottle does shatter, shards of glass will likely contain tons of valuable forensic evidence. Molotovs are loud and immediately create a big flame, all of which kills the element of surprise needed for arson attacks, which runs the risk of you getting captured or the fires getting extinguished much quicker. And then they list some alternatives, which have been blacked out on your screen. But this is available online that these Antifa members are posting. They're absolutely encouraging this violence to continue. These people need to be carted off in silver bracelets and maybe sent to Sakat. Like, what are we going to do with these domestic terrorists? It's insane. And it seems like the public just love it. They're here for it. Last night on the Daily Show, they were talking about this stuff, and the crowd started clapping, cheering. When all the host was doing was talking about the attacks that are happening, the crowd, and they filmed the Daily Show in New York, if I recall correctly. So these rabid leftists in New York are cheering on the burning of the Tesla dealerships and the Tesla cars. And it's like, what are you doing? Just a few months ago, we were told if we didn't buy an electric car, then we were climate change deniers. And now we're being told that, no, if you own a Tesla, you're a Nazi and you deserve to have your car exploded. Listen to this crowd cheering on the Daily Show, cheering on the Tesla attacks.
Jim, they're taking to the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh?
Yeah, they do. Now imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. Imagine the absolute shrieking from the mainstream media and the left. We would never, ever hear the end of it. But this is fine. This is totally fine. People have actually compared this to the Bud Light protests, where we peacefully said, yeah, you know what? We don't want to buy your product because you don't align with our values. These two are not the same. These two are not the same. Tesla has actually had to pull out of the Vancouver International Auto Show because of safety, for safety reasons. And I would have to ask the question, who's making it unsafe? Is it the conservatives or is it the rabid leftists? We all know the answer to that. I got a lot more on the way, including how some individuals have been personally attacking Tesla vehicles. It's actually pretty nasty, a couple of them. It's pretty gross stuff. They're not telling you about it on mainstream media, so we'll tell you about it here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN when we get back. Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Do you need an HVAC guy? I got an HVAC guy. I got HVAC people at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And one of the things I love about these guys, they're always trying to save you money. Right now, spring rebate madness is going on. If you need a mini split 17 SEER or heat pump 17 SEER, you can land yourself an $800 rebate. How about a heat pump 15 or 16 SEER? A $500 rebate for that. Maybe you don't need anything in that realm. How about duct sealing or repair? $300 rebate. Just a tune-up for your AC before we get to the summer. $50 rebate. Now, when you buy that Beehive Club membership, it's only $99 per unit, and that comes with 3 tune-ups. So if you do some quick napkin math, you get a $50 rebate per tune-up. Well, you could be paid to have a Beehive Club membership, and there's so much value in it. 3 annual tune-ups, 10% off all repairs, front-of-the-line service, and $100 annual accrued replacement credit, no overtime or holiday fees, and exclusive Beehive member promotions. All you got to do is call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today. They'll get you set up, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. They're online, too, busybeehvac.com.
Well, the guy who tops the Metro Nashville's most wanted list will tell you who he is. Also, Dolly Parton breaks her silence on her husband's death. Those stories coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the dust-encrusted news closet. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. We are live on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the 99.7 WTN app, the FM dial. You can watch us on Super Talk TV, where we always have video elements to accompany the audio that you hear on your radio. It's always worth a rewatch, too, if you don't see it the first time. But head on over to YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe. We do appreciate it, and share the show with your friends. It's helping me feed my kids, and it costs you nothing to do it. So we do appreciate it. Alan in the borough calling back. Alan is a Democrat, I would say, a leftist, a progressive, who was actually involved with the Tesla protests, but he says he didn't take a dollar, and he's been gracious enough to call and try to give his vantage point of the situation. What's up, Alan?
Chris, well, first of all, I was not involved in the actual demonstrations. I used to be with the federal government, and I had a...
oh, is this a different Alan? I'm sorry. I thought you were the Alan from yesterday.
Nope, this is a different Alan.
Oh, my error, buddy. I'm sorry. I don't want to paint you and put that evil on you, bro. I'm sorry, man.
No, I appreciate it that we can set the record straight on that. Again, I was formerly with the federal government. I had a high-end security clearance, and one of the things they do, as a side note, they just don't hand you a clearance one day and say, go figure it out yourself. As soon as you're given your credentials, you're taken into a room with others. You now have top security people from different branches of government there, and they train you on how to use and not abuse documentation, all good different things, so that you know what you're doing when you walk out of there. Now, one of the other things they trained us on was, because the facility I was located at, we had a lot of protesters back then.
Okay.
And so we had agents that showed pictures, and they were training us on these nefarious groups and what they're doing, et cetera. One of the pictures I've never forgotten they showed us was about 200 college students standing at the front gates protesting. And in the back of that picture, there was about 8 individuals that had red circles drawn around them. And they asked the question, who do you think they were? So I was kind of cocky back then. I said, they're probably the leaders. And he looked at me and said, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
He said, we know every one of them. We follow them. We know what they do. They're all members of either the American Communist Party, fascist groups, etc. What they do is they're paid. He said, we follow the money,
Yep.
And he said, these groups are paid. They go into these college students, and they try to convince them to follow them and to do their dirty work for them.
Yep.
And you will always notice that when these things go on, these leaders are in the back of the pack. And the reason they're there is that if something goes sideways, police comes in, whatever it may be, they vaporize like smoke. And the college kids are left out there as cannon fodder.
Yep. No, and
I know for a fact, and I was confronted by one of those groups one time when I was trying to get to my job. And they follow the money. They know that they're being paid. They will go to these college kids, and they will find certain ones that are extremely, I want to say, gullible.
Yeah, well, I mean, communists...
They'll say, hey, I'm going to give you a couple $100 for an hour's worth of protesting. Hey, I'll take it. Get some of your buddies to come along.
Communists and communists and useful idiots, Alan, are like peanut butter and jelly. I appreciate the call, man. It's 9:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Yeah, it is 9:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Metro Nashville police adding a local man to their most wanted list.
Investigators are searching for Bobby Connor. According to Metro Police, he's wanted on a grand jury indictment for attempted rape of a child. He was last seen in East Nashville.
That's News 2's Haley Wilgus. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call Crime Stoppers. In Troy, Michigan, a hospital went on lockdown after a shooting at around 7 o'clock this morning.
This appears to be a targeted incident between two employees of the hospital.
Lieutenant Ben Hancock there speaking with reporters. The 25-year-old victim is alive and in stable condition. The suspect is in custody. A bill dealing with detransitioning has moved on to a House subcommittee here in Tennessee. That bill requires gender clinics to accept funds from Tennessee to perform detransitioning surgeries. It also requires insurance companies to provide coverage for detransitioning. And Dolly Parton has, for the first time, talked about her husband Carl's death. It's been 2 weeks since he died. In an interview with Knox News, Dolly revealed that Carl suffered before his death, although she didn't say what the cause of his death was. She did say, quote, "I am at peace that he's at peace, but that don't keep me from missing him and loving him." That is the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at United Structural Systems. On days like today, when it's even just drizzling out, if you have waterproofing issues at your home, you're biting your nails. You know where that water's going. It's getting into those cracks. It's getting into the crawl space. It's getting into the basement. It is wreaking havoc. And now a lot of times with these issues, we pretend we don't see it, right? Like as homeowners, we don't want to know how much this costs. But if you don't get this problem fixed, it's going to lead to bigger issues down the road. That's where United Structural Systems comes in. They're your waterproofing experts. They've been doing it since 1994, and they have 30,000 satisfied customers to back them up. They'll come to your home, and they'll create a custom solution for your waterproofing needs. They won't leave until the job is done and you're satisfied. And when they do leave, they leave behind a warranty that is good for life. Even if you leave the home, the warranty can stay. Stop ignoring these problems. The more you ignore, the worse it's going to get. Wood rot, mold, foundation issues. That's what it can lead to. Don't let it. Call USS today. They want to keep your home dry and stable. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. My guys at USS are also online, USSTN.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
9:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Shout out to the YouTube chat. Those guys are the best. I've been in the chat during the break. Hop on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, watch the show with us, especially right now. And if you're driving, you can't watch it, I get it. Be safe. But you may want to rewatch this segment later. So file that away. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, they're always available at betterwater.com. Great sponsor of the show. Anybody that's a sponsor of the show, I mean, we have so many. USS, Busy Bee, Better Water, Glockster, Cover National, all these guys, they're fearless, right? Like, you see what's happening to Tesla, and then you think about these companies, they are putting their neck on the line to advertise in conservative spaces. So support them where you can. We do appreciate it. Patriots got to support Patriots, right? So shout out to all the great sponsors. And the show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. So Governor Walz, is he the worst? Is he the worst governor in America? Yes. Yes, he is. Did you forget that he was the governor? I kind of did for a little bit there. I think Minnesota's, don't you know, they don't really want him as the governor anymore, I would think. And it goes back to what he said yesterday. He posted this on his own personal social media page, like a putz, talking about Tesla stock and how he's now tracking the Tesla stock to watch it go down because it gives him a little bit of a boost in the morning.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day.
Give me a little boost.
225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
You can pull it off, don't you know? I hate that guy. All right, so I was on Real America's Voice last night on the show Turning Point Tonight, and my friend Joe Bob, who hosts the show, he made the point, like, you're actually rooting for Americans' 401ks to tank when you're rooting for that, because how many 401ks have Tesla stock in them? Well, it turns out it's a lot. And if Governor Walz was a smart guy, which no one is accusing him of being, I assure you, if he was a smart guy, he would have known that his own state, the state of Minnesota, has 1.6 million shares of Tesla in its retirement fund. So as Walz is gloating and bragging and just gleeful and doing his little whimsical prance about Tesla stock falling, bro, you're rooting for the failure of the people in your state. That's what you're doing. It's embarrassing, but it's the reality. As of right now, in the state of Minnesota, they have 1.6 million shares of Tesla in its retirement fund and 211,000 shares of Tesla in its non-retirement fund. So he's rooting to take money away from people in his own state. I don't understand why you're rooting against American companies to begin with. Like, even when Biden was president, nobody was rooting for the economy to tank on the conservative side. We were aware of the economy tanking. We were pointing out the steps he was taking to make the economy tank, but nobody was hoping that the economy would tank. Nobody. And it seems like the left currently, we saw it with egg prices. We're seeing it now with Tesla stock. It's like they're rooting for Americans to be hurting. Is that a political advantage for them? I'm not sure. But this is the modern state of the Democrat Party. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, was on CNN, and he was pretty upset about Governor Walz from Minnesota, don't you know, rooting for Tesla stock to fail.
You're a criminal. I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did. He's talking down a 3.5% weighting in his own pension plan. I mean, what's the matter with that guy? He doesn't check the well-being of his own constituents in his state. I mean, that's their investment fund. Point, what a bozo.
The Minnesota Tesla State Board of Investment, they have 1.6 million shares in Tesla in their retirement fund, 211,000 shares in a non-retirement fund. It's a relatively small amount, but that's one company, one single stock, and that's because Tesla is a huge part of the tech growth. But this is not the first time that companies have been in the crosshairs of protests. I mean, Republicans have protested companies all the time.
Oh yeah, we protested Bud Light because they were pushing transgender activism in our face with Dylan Mulvaney. And you know what we didn't do? We didn't firebomb grocery stores that had Bud Light on the shelves. Weird. We didn't do that whatsoever. We peacefully decided not to buy them. And if Democrats right now were peacefully saying, listen, I'm selling my Tesla, listen, I'm not buying a Tesla, I wouldn't really have much of an issue. But the bozo, as Kevin O'Leary puts it, Tim Walz, saying, I hope the stock fails. When your own pensions in your own state have Tesla stock in them, again, nobody ever accused Tim Walz of being a smart guy. Elon Musk responded to that Tim Walz audio where he said, "Oh, I get a little gleeful, give me a little boost." He said, "Sometimes when I need a little boost," this is Elon Musk on X. "Sometimes when I need a little boost, I look at the J.D. Vance portrait in the White House and thank the Lord." Don't we all? Don't we all? I don't know what Governor Walz is thinking. He was also on the Gavin Newsom podcast, the Gavcast, and he on the Gavcast he was just bemoaning how evil conservatives are and how MAGA is racist. And you know what? To his credit, Gavin Newsom pushed back a little bit, but this fake tough guy act from Tim Walz, it's like nobody's buying what you're selling, dude. And good luck in your future endeavors. I don't think he's going to be in politics much longer. Maybe he's eyeballing a 2028 run, which would be laughable at best. I don't even think a sleazeball like Gavin Newsom is stupid enough to choose Tim Walz as his running mate. And I don't even think the Democrat Party in general is stupid enough to choose Tim Walz as their nominee. But, you know, hey, crazier things have happened. It wouldn't shock me. Yet the protests continue. The firebombings continue. Kevin O'Leary on CNN last night said, all these protesters, listen, I hope that they go to jail. They've committed serious crimes. And I couldn't agree more.
I mean, is it okay for an American company to just be hated, for people to want it to not do well?
I think go back to point one. When you set a car on fire, you should go to jail.
Yep.
You're a criminal.
Any car,
I don't think we have to talk about it in any other context. Yeah. And all those cars have cameras in them, and those dealerships have cameras. You're beyond being stupid when you do that. You're going to go to jail, and you now have a government that just got their mandate. They can't wait to find idiots that do this. You're going to spend 5 to 20 years in prison. If they get them on terrorism, which I think is a stretch, they will have no parole, no shortened sentence. They'll rot in hell in prison for 20 years. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Breaking in, shooting a car, setting on fire, nothing to do with the politics, nothing to do with Tesla. You are a criminal, and you should go to jail.
You should go to jail. Listen, the only thing I disagree with Kevin O'Leary in that statement is when he says, getting them on terrorism, I think that's a stretch. I mean, I don't think that that's a stretch at all. Not one bit. The definition of terrorism is using the calculated use of violence or the threat of violence to create a climate of fear in a population and thereby achieve political or ideological goals. You tell me if that fits what we've been seeing at these Tesla dealerships. You tell me if that fits what we've seen with the website that goes up with a Molotov cocktail as the cursor that doxes, and to just so you know, doxing is putting the address and the name and the phone number out. It doxed every Tesla owner in the country, and they said, if you want to get your name off the list, provide proof of sale. Okay, to me, That sounds a lot like the calculated use of violence or the threat of violence to create a climate of fear in a population and thereby achieve political or ideological goals. It is, by definition, domestic terrorism. That's the only thing I disagree with Kevin O'Leary about in that statement. I like Kevin O'Leary a lot. But when he said the terrorism charges seem like a bit of a stretch, what do you mean? What do you mean, bro? That doesn't feel like a stretch at all. Do you think that's a stretch? I don't think that's a stretch. I think that's exactly what we're seeing, personally. Tim Walz is a complete moron. Carolyn Leavitt, yesterday at the White House press briefing, she had some words for Governor Walz, rooting against the success of an American company.
More on Tesla, Caroline. Tim Walz, Governor Walz, saying last night he frequently checks Tesla stock. In doing so, to quote, give me a little boost during the day. How should Americans view politicians who take pride in the downfall of an American car company?
I think that's quite sad, but I think Governor Walz, unfortunately, is living a sad existence after his devastating defeat on November 5th.
Okay. There were rumors that Carolyn Leavitt was nervous before she got this gig, that maybe she wasn't ready for this gig. I think that those have all been dispelled. Can we agree on that? She has been lights out at these press conferences. Mic drop moment after mic drop moment after mic drop moment. She is clear-spoken, confident, and she executes.
Vocal left hooks all day.
All day, man. Like, so, and I did. I heard the whispers of that before she took to the podium from numerous people. She's nervous, and you know what? You can be nervous and still crush, and maybe she was nervous, but there were some serious questions in back rooms about Carolyn Leavitt. I don't think that there's any questions about her anymore. She has been an absolute firecracker, and shout out to her. Now, this doesn't change what we're seeing on the ground. We're seeing multiple attacks against Tesla cars in just about every corner of the internet. You're finding these videos, and I've got a few of them together. There's a video of a guy causing $3,000 worth of damage to a Tesla. There's a video, two videos that involve fecal matter and Teslas, and I'll bring you those when we get back right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Do you have any idea what's in your water? Have you checked? Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at Better Water LLC. There could be some nasty stuff in the water that you're drinking in your home, the water that you're bathing your kids and grandkids in. Do you know for sure? I'm talking about awful stuff: sulfur, iron, chlorine, bacteria, E. coli, nasty stuff. Now, you might say, well, I have a well. Well, I've heard horror stories about that too. You might say, well, I'm on city water. I've heard horror stories about that. Better Water LLC will come to your home and test your water for you for free. You owe it to yourself, your kids, your grandkids to have that peace of mind. And if you do have some nasty stuff in your water, Better Water LLC offers a full range of water treatment equipment: reverse osmosis units, water softeners, specialized filters, UV lights, you name it. And this is a Middle Tennessee-based company. They operate out of Smyrna. They serve all of Middle Tennessee. They're the same guys that are filtering the water at your local coffee shop and the hospitals that we visit. They know what they're doing. They're the best at it, and they'll test your water for free to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today. Ask for Craig or Brandy. Tell them Chris Hand told you to call 615-355-6063. That's 615-355-6063. Or you can hit the website, betterwater.com.
The Education Department gets the official Doge treatment today.
Let's go.
Yeah. And what state lawmakers have to say about dealing with the children of illegal immigrants. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones. Headlines on the way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, betterwater.com. Every corner of the internet, you're finding videos of absolutely unhinged, insane leftists damaging Teslas. I got a video here. There's a guy walking by a Tesla, and he takes his suitcase and he slams it into the Tesla, causing $3,000 worth of damage. $3,000 worth of damage. Unbelievable. You think that's bad? I got another one. Let's up the ante. This is a video of a man in Florida walking by a Tesla, and he has dog poop. He's walking his dog. He had dog poop. Picks up the dog poop, throws it at the Tesla. These people are not well. And I do believe that they've been wound up by leftist mainstream media. This is not even the worst. In fact, this one, the dog poop guy, is actually, I would say, more what you would rather have as opposed to this next video I have. This one may be the nastiest one you'll see all day.
Is it the one that I posted on my Twitter account?
Is that what you posted this?
The guy that with his own?
I thought you were a bit classier than posting this, Joan.
Look, I just post.
I would expect Ken Weaver to post this, but I don't know, Joan. I'm rather shocked. This is in Florida. A man walking by, digging in his own rear end, getting that nastiness from his bottom.
His own
bottom. And wiping it on a Cybertruck. These people are not well at all. These people need help. I saw some conservatives saying this is what happens because we don't bully these kinds of people anymore.
Let's return to bullying.
What is this guy doing?
Yeah.
All three bills of this gentleman on video smearing fecal matter on a Cybertruck, Tesla Cybertruck.
I bet he gets applauded for such antics.
Oh, yeah. He got some high fives after he washed his hands for sure. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There's an accident on 24. The eastbound lanes looks like it's backing up both sides of the roadway. It's right before Old Hickory Boulevard, south exit 62. Now, the crash is in the right lane of the eastbound side of 24. The right lane there blocked off, but the westbound lanes, they're also really slow as well in that area. President Trump makes good on a promise today to turn over control and funding of education to the states.
The Department of Education days could be numbered. Multiple sources tell ABC News President Trump plans to sign an executive order directing Education Secretary Linda McMahon to take all necessary steps permitted by law to dissolve the department she oversees. It follows sweeping cuts to the agency last week, slashing nearly half of the DOE workforce. Curriculum decisions are already handled at state and local levels. Critics say abolishing the Education Department will hurt underserved students and schools. Congressional approval is still needed to close the department. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
And President Trump says none of the monies that fund underserved students will be removed. An emotional hearing yesterday in the case of Logan Garver. He's the man charged with DUI after a crash on I-40 in December, during which his friend Austin David was ejected from his truck and then run over by other cars. Austin David's mother making a plea to Garver in court yesterday.
I mean, I could have sympathy for you. I could feel bad for you if you would just admit it Let us try to move on somehow instead of dragging us through this.
Instead, Garver's case is being sent to a grand jury. The General Assembly has advanced a bill that keeps free tampons and pads in stock at Tennessee high schools. Knoxville Republican State Representative Elaine Davis is the sponsor. She talked to Channel 4.
So if they have an emergency or if they just don't have the ability to purchase those products for themselves, they're there. So that way that gives them some dignity and also just keeps them in the classroom.
Another bill, that one that would allow school districts to charge tuition for children who are illegally residing in the U.S. That one has been temporarily shelved after a Senate Education Committee vote failed. Protesters took credit, including this guy from Chattanooga speaking to Channel 4.
Denying children and punishing kids on some sort of weird, crusade that they have, it is shameful.
Conservatives, however, say it is not weird to recognize that so many illegals in the classroom is hitting Tennesseans in the pocketbook and causing problems for overworked teachers. Meantime, there is another bill that allows schools to just disenroll or to simply not enroll children here illegally. That one will be voted on in the House and in the Senate next week. That's the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on air. And you can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, TuneIn, the FM dial. But watching it on Supertalk TV has an added value. You get the visuals along with the audio. And this this video that we just played, many people on the YouTube channel are demanding that we play it again. This is an individual, I believe this is in Florida, who saw a Cybertruck and decided, you know what I'm going to do to really stick it to Elon? I'm going to dig in my own butt. I'm going to wipe it on the Cybertruck. Oh, it's nasty. And you see the fingerprints all over the door. I wouldn't be doing this unless the YouTube channel wanted this, but they demanded it. I'm actually just kidding. Nobody asked for that again.
I was about to say, I'm going through these comments looking who I can ban for asking for this.
So I guess this begs the question, is that a biological attack? Is that biowarfare?
I guess so. It's the only way the left is looking to fight back.
This is how they're protesting. Mike in Nashville wants to talk about the Tesla protests. Mike, I appreciate you holding. What's up, man?
Yeah, thank you for putting me on, Chris. Hey, yeah, it's really disgusting what these people are doing. Chris, I was raised up, and I'm pretty sure you was raised up the same way. I don't touch other people's property.
Yep.
Somebody paid for that Tesla. Somebody worked hard to purchase that vehicle out of their own pocket.
Yep.
And like I said, whether you like Elon Musk or not, you don't have the right to go up to somebody's vehicle and wipe feces on the door or put spray paint Nazi on somebody. You don't know who that person is. Just like I told you yesterday, that person might be a Democrat for all you know. You think that just because he drives a Tesla that he's a Republican and he supports Trump. You don't know who. These idiots. That just shows you how stupid these people are. They don't know who's driving that car. Like I said, he could have voted for Kamala Harris.
Yep.
All these idiots know.
Yep.
But I'm gonna put it to you. I'm gonna put it to you real nicely like this, Chris. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that I don't drive a Tesla because somebody will probably end up in the graveyard. I think you know what I mean. Because if somebody took something that belonged to me and I had nothing to do with the situation, I'm going to take matters into my own hands.
And I think that this is the actual next step in the escalation, which is why this stuff needs to stop. Either a Tesla owner is going to be hurt or somebody doing this is going to be hurt. And it's like, for what? What difference are you actually making in the world by rubbing feces on a car?
Yeah, it's disgusting, Chris. But that's even, what's even more dangerous is what happened in Las Vegas when you got guys firebombing cars and shooting guns into Tesla dealerships. That's what's more dangerous is when you're doing this. Somebody is, like you said, somebody is eventually going to get hurt. And all these protests that you were talking about at the beginning of the show, those protests should not be allowed. I think you said they got one on the 22nd and the 29th. They should, Donald Trump or somebody should step in and disallow these protests because I believe that they're going to turn violent. You're going to have a bunch of people, troublemakers, and then you're going to have a bunch of people that don't like this type of activity, and these two people are going to clash with each other, and only bad things happen when these
I hear you,
and I believe that's what's going to happen.
But we don't disagree often, Mike. I do disagree with you there. I think protesting is one thing. If you want to go protest, then protest, but it has to be peaceful. The firebombing stuff has to stop. The smearing of fecal matter on cars has to stop. The vandalism has to stop. But if you want to hold a sign and look like a bozo, by all means, waste your Saturday.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay, let me ask you one other question before I hang up with you, Chris. What do you think, and you can answer after I hang up with you, what do you think that Elon Musk or Donald Trump can do to make these protesters or these troublemakers stop terrorizing Tesla owners and Tesla dealership? What is the next step to stop this from happening? And I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I appreciate you calling as always, Mike. I think the next step is what Pam Bondi said that she was going to do. They're going to be investigating where the money is coming from in these situations because you got to follow that money. A lot of people are pointing the finger at Soros and those open society foundations, and you can absolutely make the argument, even from my standpoint, that a lot of these groups like Indivisible Tennessee and Indivisible Nation, they have received funding, albeit indirectly, from George Soros, and that is funding this. I think you have to go after who is funding these groups. The groups are very organized. Make no mistake about it. And those protests are coming to Tennessee. We're going to have one in Franklin, Chattanooga, Memphis, and Knoxville on Saturday at 1 o'clock local time. So I don't know. Is a counter protest correct where you go in and you wave an American flag? Maybe you're in a position where you can go buy a Tesla. So you stick it to them that way. You walk past the picket line, you go buy yourself a Cybertruck. Maybe that's what you do. I'm not in that position, but if somebody wants to buy me a Tesla, by all means, I will. I'll show up there with you as well. But no, I think what you do is you go after who's funding these idiots. And you find the ones that are doing the vandalism, that are doing this kind of stuff, like smearing feces on a Tesla truck. You find this guy, and then you publicly humiliate and shame this man and charge him with anything you can. Rubbing feces on a car. Can we somehow get biological warfare on the charges? I don't know. I'm not a prosecutor, but I'm sure that you could do something. Can we at least blast his name and his employer out there? Remember when conservatives, you do something wrong and you get fired from your job for supporting Donald Trump? Can we do that? It's got to stop one way or another. These people have to be made famous. They're going way over the line. Now, we talked about one guy. Do you remember last week where we were laughing because we were calling it the swastika? And then I talked about the guy lighting the charging station on fire in South Carolina, and he actually lit himself on fire. And Mason had the line of all lines. He called it swastika.
It's just what happens, man.
It was so good, and I've honestly been chuckling about that for days. Well, the swastika has struck again. That guy that lit himself on fire when he was lighting those Tesla charging stations. He has been found, and South Carolina police have made an arrest. And according to law enforcement officials, Daniel Clark Pounder, 24-year-old mechanic from James Island, South Carolina, well, he has been arrested and charged with lighting those charging stations on fire. Good. And I think we should find out all these individuals' names, and we should make a bit of a highlight reel and share that on social media. So that way anybody thinking about doing something dumb, like wiping feces on a Tesla truck, will think twice about it moving forward. Right? I think we should make these people as famous as we absolutely can make them. Yet they probably don't care because they're still being absolutely encouraged, if not downright incited, by left-wing personalities and media. Jimmy Kimmel was like, the other night, any kind of vandalism to a Tesla is wrong. Anyway, and it's like the crowd laughs. Like he's absolutely inciting this kind of stuff. And he doubled down on it last night, talking about Tesla and Elon Musk. And he's like, violence isn't okay, but Elon is such an evil guy.
Even been on incidents of arson. Someone lit a bunch of Teslas on fire. And here's the thing. I get that people are upset. Burning a car might not be great for the environment. I don't think that's what they had in mind when they invented the electric car. In Las Vegas yesterday, someone threw a Molotov cocktail at a Tesla service center. At least 5 Teslas blew up. 1 from the Molotov and 4 because that's just what Teslas do sometimes. And no one should be setting fires. You could kill somebody. You could hurt somebody. Elon Musk might not care about other people, but decent Americans should. The world's richest man, has been trying to drum up sympathy for himself lately. His sales are down. His stock is down. Last night, he was somber.
He hasn't been trying to gin up sympathy for himself. He's just been addressing the acts of domestic terrorism that have been perpetrated against his company. He doesn't need to gin up sympathy for himself. Jimmy Kimmel is a loser and a clown. And all you have to do is go back in the archives and find out who the real Jimmy Kimmel is. He talks like he's this virtue signaling liberal. Yet, I mean, just a couple decades ago, he was on The Man Show being a misogynistic, blackface-wearing Nazi, if you will. If he did any of the stuff that he did back in the day on The Man Show today on his Jimmy Kimmel show, the leftists would completely disown him. Currently, they have amnesia, and they just don't think about what he used to do in the past conveniently. Now, Jimmy Kimmel isn't even the worst one. the Lincoln Project's Rick Wilson. You remember the Lincoln Project? One of their co-founders was in big trouble for having a how do I put this? An interest in young boys. Yeah, that's the Lincoln Project. Rick Wilson claims to be a conservative. He was on X talking about killing Tesla, and he made this post, and it says, "Kill Tesla, save the country." And in what is one of the most drastic scenarios of F around and find out, well, his account was then frozen and locked out because he's inciting violence. Elon Musk froze my Twitter account for 30 days, he posted on Blue Sky. Now, Rick Wilson, just to remind you, is the same guy who tried to incite violence in 2015 when he said that we should put a bullet in Donald Trump. He won't stop until we put a bullet in him. That's Rick Wilson. And Rick Wilson, back in 2016, he loved Tesla. Today, he wants to kill Tesla. But if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you'll see the tweets. The internet lives forever. In 2016, Rick Wilson said, "Car service today is a Tesla. Hashtag thug life." And then somebody with a Ukraine flag said, "Oh, enjoy it. I love my Model S." And which Rick Wilson said, "Wanting so hard right now." I don't know where you would put the comma in that last post, but that's Rick Wilson for you. These guys have no integrity, no principles. And he's supposed to be, I think he's supposed to be a Republican. Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican out of Missouri, has issued a new statement on the terror attacks on Tesla, saying every single Democrat should be asked on the record to condemn the Tesla attacks. And I say yes. Yes, you absolutely should. Over and over and over and over again. Just like Donald Trump was asked to condemn the white supremacists in Charlottesville over and over and over and over again. Because you can't just say it once. You can't just condemn that kind of stuff just once. You need to condemn it in every single interview, which is what the left-wing media did to Donald Trump when he did condemn it immediately in the aftermath of Charlottesville, the white supremacists. I think that we need to get every single Democrat on record every single chance we can get, over and over and over. Every time you get them on camera, will you condemn the violence against Tesla cars, Tesla owners, Tesla dealerships? Over and over and over again. Even if they say, yes, we condemn that, ask them again next time. Because remember, when conservatives were asked to condemn the white nationalism and the white supremacy that's running rampant in our country, we would say, yes, we condemn that. We don't think it's as big of a deal as you're making it out to be, but we do. We condemn that. And then they would say, okay, good. And then the next interview would be like amnesia, like we had never condemned it in the first place. Like, do you condemn that? Yep, still do. So I hope that we do exactly what they did to conservatives, except we flip it around. Jonathan in Tullahoma wants to talk about the Tesla protest. What's up, John?
Hey, man. Appreciate your show.
Thank you.
I just want to say, we've got to a point in the nation where, I mean, we're headed for violence if that's what we want. You know what I mean? How long are we going to sit here and be called out for violence and not be violent people? And I'm not for that. I don't encourage that. But in the 90s, could you imagine something like this happening? It was a different time. And I think stepping back might do us some good.
Yeah, but I mean, I just wonder, why do conservatives need to step back right now? What have conservatives done to make the situation worse? It seems to me like the left is the one that needs to step back. The left has had to step back over and over. Even when they wanted to ratchet down the rhetoric, when Donald Trump almost had his head blown off, they were back to calling him a Nazi and Hitler a week and a half later.
Well, what I mean by step back is, step back in time a little bit. I'm with Mike. If somebody did something and I owned a Tesla, like I'm about ready to put Tesla on my Jeep and just say, give it a try. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
I don't know how long you can just sit and be idle when, people are obviously attacking American citizens. I don't know, man. I think we need to step back a little bit and be ready for this kind of stuff. Hope for the best and prepare for the worst. I think that's what we.
Weather can change in an instant, and you need to be prepared for any outcome. That's why Generator Supercenter of Nashville will help keep your family safe and connected. We make buying a backup generator simple and easy, with financing options available, free in-home estimate, turnkey installations, no worry warranty, and most importantly, the monitoring and service of your fully installed generator. Come see us at our location in Nashville or visit us online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
Why weather radios may be silent right now during the unpredictable spring season. And Columbia University bends the knee to the Trump administration. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 1026 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You can get those at betterwater.com. Elon Musk, the most hated man in America. Why is he so hated? Well, because he's trying to save this country. And he's putting his money where his mouth is. You know, Trump has been dealing with these rogue judges. More nationwide injunctions against Trump than just about anybody else. The most in history. That's what Trump is dealing with currently. Well, are impeachment's a good idea? Some people argue against it. Some people say it's not a good idea to impeach those judges. Charlie Kirk is on record saying it's not a good idea to try and impeach those records. Other people are on record saying it's not a good idea. I like the idea of impeachments. Apparently, Elon Musk likes the idea of impeachments as well. He's donating to Republicans supporting impeachments. Oh, I like that this guy puts his money where his mouth is. Musk has given the maximum amount of hard dollar donations to the campaigns of quite a few Republicans who have either endorsed or called for some level of action regarding judicial impeachments. And the list is long, man. You'll know a few of these names. Eli Crane, Lauren Boebert, our own Andy Ogles, Andrew Clyde, Derek Van Orden, Brandon Gill, and Chuck Grassley. Elon has given them the maximum donation allowed because they're supporting America by trying to get rid of these radical activist judges. Shout out to those reps doing that work. I'm here for it. I think that we have to do something. What we're witnessing is lawfare 2.0 against Donald Trump. And Musk doesn't have to do this. Musk doesn't have to do any of this. He could easily go into the background and stay quiet and move away from government, still be the richest man in the world, kick his feet up somewhere and play with his kids. I truly believe he's doing this because he loves the country and wants a future for this country, for his kids and his grandkids. I think that's where his motivations lie. Much in the same way, I believe that's where Trump's motivations lie. Both of these guys don't need the headache that is being given to them by the radical left. But I think that they're doing this because they believe it's the right thing to do. Yet the protests will continue. We have protests this weekend in Tennessee, Chattanooga, Memphis, Knoxville, and Franklin. The Tennessee Tesla takedown. Oh, it's scary. The Indivisible Tennessee Facebook page posted this. Got quite a few likes, too. Quite a few likes. We're going to have some people that are at that protest. Friend of the show, Bo Diddle, is going to be there. And maybe we'll get Bo on the show on Monday to talk about how that protest turned out. And there'll definitely be video coming out of that protest as well from Bo and other reporters and journalists that are on the scene. I would imagine that some of our local news will cover it, but I'd also imagine that they're not going to cover it honestly in any way. And I imagine that it'll have a spin to the left. If I'm a betting man. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The National Weather Service admits its radio tower at Shelbyville is out of service and has been since October. Channel 4 says it's causing a lot of people in Rutherford County to have radio silence in times of severe weather, including this Murfreesboro man, Doug Bowen.
They've worked perfectly, and now they don't. So it's very concerning. We feel like part of our safety net, if you will, has been taken away.
He spoke to Channel 4. The National Weather Service says it is important to have more than one way to get emergency alerts. Turns out the Federal Reserve agrees with President Trump when he says tariffs will have a temporary impact on the economy.
The Nonpartisan Tax Foundation analysis shows that tariffs would cost households an average of about $1,000, $72 more, making everything from your groceries, your fresh fruits, your vegetables, your electronics and toys more expensive. But it's important to note the Fed doesn't expect tariffs to have a long-lasting inflation impact. The Fed chair also noted that a recession is unlikely.
That's ABC's Rebecca Jarvis. Looks like Columbia University will cave in to the Trump administration's demands to get their $400 million in federal funding back.
The university is facing a deadline to agree to 9 demands before the Trump administration considers restoring the $400 million in federal funding. The demands include enforcing discipline of protesters, moving the disciplinary process to the office of the president, formalizing the definition of anti-Semitism, reforming the admissions process, and an on-campus mask ban.
That's ABC's Ryan Medji reporting. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
You're hardly at home in the spring. Your family is busier than ever. So are the springs on your garage door. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. If your garage door just isn't right, really noisy, won't open or close, there could be a lot of reasons
for your health and
why,
wellness
like
products?
a broken spring or a busted opener. At All Four Seasons, our
With over
highly
20
trained
company-owned
technicians
brands
provide
offering its members
24/7
vitamins,
service,
supplements,
upfront
wellness,
pricing,
and skincare
free
products, you're able to
estimates.
save
When
up to
trust matters,
70% off
trust
retail.
us.
Members
All
Nutrition
the
can't
number
change your
4
life, but we can change the way you live.
Seasonsgarages.com.
$10:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, betterwater.com for your water filtration system. You can listen to the show anywhere, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or the FM dial. You can watch the show, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. That's Super Talk TV. We got the best chat in America on our YouTube channel. Where you can, the show is totally interactive on YouTube. I'm in the chat. We got the best listeners in the chat. And everybody's just conversating about the news of the day over on YouTube. Hit like and subscribe while you're there. We do appreciate it when you do. Helps me feed my kids. It's free to do. And if you don't like and subscribe, the kids will continue to only have bread and water. So I'm going to let them know that's on you. It's not on me. That's on you. Hit like and subscribe. I do appreciate it.
That escalated quickly.
It
I mean,
did.
that really got out of hand fast.
I know. They said, Dad, please. I said, no. We don't have enough likes. So just wait. I like that new drop that you got in there. That's good. All right, Tesla protest this weekend. Chattanooga, Franklin, Memphis, Knoxville. If I was a betting man, I think the most crazy would be Memphis. Would you think the most crazy would be Memphis? I think the most behaved will be Franklin. And I think the most crazy leftists that you'll see, like the most absurd leftists, the purple hair, the red flag, purple hair, blue hair leftists, shaved head ladies, that's going to be Chattanooga and Knoxville. You think is that a good take?
Knoxville for sure.
Knoxville for sure?
Yeah. Memphis, I have a pretty good feeling on.
Memphis,
Chattanooga could go either way.
Memphis could be the most violent.
Yeah.
Knoxville could be the most woke. Franklin will probably be the most peaceful.
See, the thing about Memphis, though, is we can't go like the left and start pooling statistics there, though, because they're just normally violent.
Yeah, true. Statistics are they're a thing. Don't look at the FBI stats. You'll get called all sorts of names. Chris in Lebanon wants to talk about death threats. What's up, Chris?
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's up?
Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely,
Sorry,
man.
I'm sick.
No, you're good.
So I was going to say, first off, him saying, the only way to stop Donald Trump is a bullet. Like, how is that okay?
That was Rick Wilson from the Lincoln Project, and he said that some years ago. And he was just taken off Twitter. He was just taken off Twitter for posting "Kill Tesla."
Yeah, and here's another thing: the whole Doge thing. Okay, they're trying to save us money.
Yep.
Why? Excuse my friend. Why in the HELL? Like, is anybody fighting this? It's ridiculous.
Well, and a few years ago, you can find videos of Obama touting the same kind of stuff that we want to do with Doge. This shouldn't be a partisan issue.
It's not a new thing. Exactly. It's not a new thing. And these, like, Doge existed before this. And, okay, when in the world is it not okay to save money? And, like, you get work done on your house, something like that. You want to save money.
Yeah, but Chris, think about this. All the money that we could save, we could send to Mozambique for circumcisions.
Screw that, dude. Come on, man. like you and I promise you, we're on the same page. It's like, what are you thinking, man? Nobody here cares about that. And it's not that it's like we're careless, just hateful people. No. None of that matters in my daily life here in the U.S.
But Chris, who's going to pay for Iraqi Sesame Street if it's not the U.S. taxpayers?
Nobody, because nobody wants to watch that monkey garbage.
Oh,
I mean, that is like the silliest bunch of garbage I've ever heard in my life.
I'm with you,
Nobody
man.
wants to watch that.
But
I'm a Mr. Rogers fan from back in the day. Like, that was, if you want to watch something, that's what you need. You don't need trans like Sesame Street and this, that, and other thing. Our kids don't need to know that garbage. But so another thing, I'm sorry. The judge wanted to turn around those planes filled with illegal immigrant, not just illegal immigrants. Like, let's just take that totally out of the equation. You've got people that have extensive criminal records and have known hardcore long-term gang ties. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yep.
Like, why in God's name? We don't want them here.
Yep.
I may sound mean when I say this, but like, so we're.
Well, why would it be mean? Why would it be mean to say you don't want gang members and human traffickers and drug traffickers here?
No, I'm saying as far as like, I've lived in Lebanon, Tennessee my entire life, and I do not like. I don't love all the transplants coming in, but there again, I'm not totally against it. I wish they'd stop building. Other than that, I don't want criminals. We have enough here in the States.
Yeah.
We have enough of our own criminals that do all the same things. And, you want to lock them up? You want to do all this? But no, I'm sorry. Like, you guys deserve to be here. No, because I work in the construction industry. I own my own business.
Oh, so you see this stuff firsthand, don't you?
Yes, and so there's Hispanic guys that I subcontract out to. They're here legally. They love this country. Every daggum one of them voted for Trump.
Yep.
It's and it's not a left or right thing. It's a right or wrong thing, period. It makes me sick to my stomach to see people with their misinformation, and they're just ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
You can't call somebody some minute slang name, but yet, Donald Trump needs a bullet. No, your mom should have made a different decision on the night you were conceived.
Jeez.
I mean, not to be it's just, come on, man.
I hear you, Chris. I hear you. I can hear the frustration, man, and I appreciate the call. Yeah, the deportation stuff is insane. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt was talking about that judge ordering those planes be turned around moments ago, actually.
I'm confident that we've complied.
Hang on one second. I got too many tabs open, and then audio playing on top of audio. Here we go. This is Carolyn Leavitt moments ago.
We are 100% confident that we've complied, and as I said from the podium and will continue to say, all of the flights that were subject to the written order of the judge took off before the written order was pushed in the courtroom, and the president is well within his Article 2 power and his authority under the Alien Enemies Act to make these decisions, and we think it's egregious that a single district judge is trying to tell the president of the United States who he can and cannot deport from our soil, especially when it comes to designated foreign terrorists.
Yeah, and they are designated foreign terrorists now. And you can, Chris made the point. He works with a lot of Hispanics who are here legally and they love the country. And you can talk to those individuals and they'll tell you those gangs where they came from should not be in this country. They shouldn't be here. They're not shedding any tears when these gang members and these murderers and these thugs and terrorists are being deported. Nobody's sad about that. You shouldn't be upset. Yeah, this is the state of the Democrat Party. It's whatever Trump does, they have to take the opposite position. If Trump saves astronauts from space, they say leave them there. If Trump says we want to get gang members out, they say bring more in. It's insane. This is the current state of the radical left. This is why the Democrats are in absolute disarray right now. The Democrat Party. Currently, 70% of Democrat voters say that their messaging is ineffective. And they cite an over-reliance on elite-centric rhetoric. Yeah. Social media analysis indicates that 72% of Democrat voters want to shift away from anti-Trump rhetoric and toward tangible policy discussions. Don't just tell me that Trump is bad. Like the Democrat voters, the majority of them are like, got it. You've made that point perfectly clear. And the majority of Democrat voters go, we agree with you. Okay? Put that aside, right? Put that aside. What are you going to do? Well, they don't have anything that they're going to do. They don't have any effective messaging. What they have are songs, and what they have are scripted social media videos that they all post at the exact same time. It's not shocking that an overwhelming majority of Democrats don't approve of the Democrat Party. 75% of online discussions among Democrats express concerns that the party economic policies harm wages and job security. Is any Democrat going to address that? No, of course not. Of course not. There's no hope for the Democrat Party. None. 70% of Democrat voters say their party's messaging is ineffective. 72% of Democrat voters want to shift away from anti-Trump rhetoric. 45% of Democrat voters say party fundraising tactics are too aggressive, exploitive, and out of step with voter priorities. I could go on and on and on, but I don't really want to give these guys any advice. Don't interrupt your enemies while they're making a mistake, right? Don't. But this is the current state of the Democrat Party. Senator John Kennedy, he was on Fox News, and he said it in a way that only he could say it when it comes to the popularity of the Democrat Party. Well, I don't want to spoil it. I'll let the senator from Louisiana tell you.
Many Democrats are angry at Schumer. Among them right now, we've all seen the news. He's about as popular as chlamydia.
Actually, I would argue that chlamydia has higher scores than Chuck Schumer and Democrat leadership. Personally, what would you? We should do a poll. We should do a poll. Would you rather have what would you rather have representing you, Chuck Schumer or chlamydia? I guarantee you this audience rolls with chlamydia.
I think I'm just going to go and I'm just going to put which would you rather have?
What would you rather, Chuck Schumer or chlamydia? I love this guy.
Many Democrats are angry at Schumer. Among them right now, we've all seen the news. He's about as popular as chlamydia. But that to me says as much about the Democratic Party as it does about Senator Schumer.
Yep, exactly. That's your leader, bro. That's your guy. That's your guy. That's the current state of the Democrat Party. Sky in Nashville wants to talk. She is the child of an immigrant. What's up, Sky?
Hi, Chris. I don't know about being the child of an immigrant, but, I just heard you say, don't interrupt your enemies while they're making their mistakes. That's a really cool saying, and thank you for that. That answered something that I was looking an answer to.
That's not mine. That's Sun Tzu.
All right. Well, thank you for saying it, and I heard it through your radio. I haven't heard through that or any other source. But I want to just bring up a point where I already put it on my X account, but my influence isn't that big yet. So, and then I was in my car listening to you. So anyways, I just want to say, with all these reformations and everything, I have, some things I agree with and some things I don't. But really, at the end of the day, I just want to ask the question, why does a child have to pay for the decisions that their parents made? And, when they're saying your birthright or this and that or like deportation, and then they talk about illegal criminals. What about the legal criminals, okay? What are you doing about those? Because either way, there are so many illegal people, too. They're working their asses off. They're paying their taxes. They're doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you look at it legally, it doesn't matter what they've done or nothing. If you want to look at it legally, they might still have those laws where they can put them out or away. But at the same time, what are you doing about the people here? And it's wrong to put something on the child and have the child pay for whatever rights they think, whether it's a birthright or not.
But I guess
you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but I guess I would pose the question the other way. Why, if an adult decides to break into this country with a child, why does that child automatically have rights here? If an illegal alien comes into this country and has a child here, why should that child automatically be a U.S. citizen? Would it work that way in any other country? If I went to Mexico with my wife and we gave birth there, would that child be a citizen of Mexico?
Okay, but that child, what does that child didn't make the decision to be born or to be born.
I completely agree with that. If I went to Mexico with my wife and we had a child, would that be a citizen of Mexico or Canada or England or Russia or North Korea or Japan? If I went there and my wife gave birth, would that child be a citizen of that country?
I mean, I don't know. And that at the end of the day, it's like everybody has to answer for their decisions, and it's the parents' decision that they made. So it's you have to accept the consequences regarding that. But I'm just saying, the kid, shouldn't have to, right? Like the kids shouldn't have to pay for a decision that their parents made.
My
Like,
heart
you know what I'm saying?
my heart breaks for that child, but no other country in the world would allow this.
Right. So like
So
like
I would just say, why does America have to allow this? And I would also point out that when they were arguing this, the birthright citizenship stuff, it was for slavery. And in the arguments in congressional records, there's a senator from Michigan who says this does not apply to foreign aliens.
Right, exactly. And slavery, going back to that, right? Recently I read somewhere that they're saying all these slavery people, this and that, everybody, they built America, this and that, they worked hard, this. You know what? And they want restitution and they weren't given lands, and that's why they're now poor and this and that, and they're like acting like the victims. No, bro, that's not okay. Don't act like the victim. Whatever the consequences, face them like everybody else, because at the end of the day, there's so many people that want to require restitutions for what they've been to because of situation. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to take over, like credit for everything, building America, this and that. Bro, where is that coming from? Because at some point you didn't have a control. You were basically you were put in a situation where you didn't have control over your people. Was it call it some kind of war? But someone else appeared to be more powerful, and then you ended up like being in that situation. And then you built something because you didn't have a choice whether you wanted to or not. People have a choice every day. They get paid and they still have a choice, and they still stick to the choice, which makes them miserable. So right now, people coming back, people want restitution for lives they lost under genocide, man. And these people want to be entitled to building America or whatnot. Put it any way you want to put it. Why? Because at some point you were working for someone for free, but at the same time you had housing, you had food, you had somewhere to stay, you weren't homeless per se. So these people want credit for all these things to build America, and then everybody else wants to come in and say, you know what, Trump, I was a supporter of Trump, like when he was back in the day, and I still am. I agree with the things, like when he got like elected, like I was cool with, you know, like with the things, I'm like, yeah, we're going to get better, this and that, you know, but like, I'm just saying,
but you're not a fan of deporting everybody.
No, that's not even the point. It's just that it came to my head with like, it came to my head. It was about children, because I myself don't have kids, and it's a conscious decision, and I'm to the point where basically I'm conscious enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to like feel like I'm a victim or what my parents chose for me and this and that. I didn't choose to be born, and my situation now, whatever it is that my life is, sure, I have some control over it because I'm an adult, but at the end of the day, there's so much one person can do when they come from a certain, like, let's say, background, or when the situations, the decisions that their parents made affecting them some one way or another, whether you're resenting someone or not.
Yeah, no,
But
I mean, listen, I kind of hear where you're coming from to a certain extent. I'm trying to gauge where you're at politically. You're a little bit kind of all over the board, but I appreciate the call. I think I would say, yeah, I agree with you on the victim mentality. I'm not with it. I think that you are in control of your own decisions and your own future. And I think that especially with the African-American community, I mean, the birthright citizenship, they were brought here. They didn't sneak in. It's a completely different scenario. But I'd also point out everything that happened was a very long time ago, and to keep pointing to that doesn't make any sense because look at Asian Americans in this country. They went through a lot. They were put in internment camps. They're some of the richest per capita, if not the richest per capita in the country. So I hate the victim mentality. I think the most compassionate thing that we can do is not make special exemptions for certain individuals because of how they got into this country. If you came in illegally, I think you need to go home. It's 10:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Lots of stuff to cover this half hour in the news. We understand that the Taliban has released an American it is held for 2 years. We're also going to start with Karen Travers at the White House for another Trump executive order expected today.
President Trump's expected to sign an executive order today directing the education secretary to take, quote, all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return education authority to the states. This is a follow-up on his campaign promise, but most funding for public schools is already done at the state and local level. The Education Department has already been hit with massive staff reductions. Half of its workforce has been cut. Eliminating the department would require congressional action and 60 votes in the Senate, but the president can try to dismantle the agency with executive action.
Here's some money news with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell saying it is unlikely the U.S. is headed to a recession despite the tariffs. Here's Rebecca Jarvis.
The Nonpartisan Tax Foundation analysis shows that tariffs would cost households an average of about $1,000, $72 more, making everything from your groceries, your fresh fruits, your vegetables, your electronics and toys more expensive. But it's important to note the Fed doesn't expect tariffs to have a long-lasting inflation impact. The Fed chair also noted that a recession is unlikely.
Reports say the Pentagon's evaluating plans to take control of big portions of land along the southern border to create a buffer zone between the U.S. and Mexico and give U.S. troops an area to temporarily hold migrants. Here's Nicole D'Antonio.
The Washington Post reports the land would initially be in New Mexico, then possibly stretch to California. It comes as the White House escalates its attack against federal judge James Boasberg. Boasberg is warning of consequences as he considers whether the administration defied his ruling when it deported alleged Venezuelan gang members last weekend. Boasberg said the administration has not provided enough evidence to justify using the Alien Enemies Act without due process.
And something to watch here, Judge Boasberg had extended his deadline until noon today for the administration to provide more details about the deportations. And if that is noon Eastern time, well, that deadline passed 3 minutes ago. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell wants property tax appraisals every other year instead of the traditional every 4 years, which could mean more frequent tax increases for property owners. Right now, property tax appraisals are underway. And Metro Council member Courtney Johnston tells WTN's Matt Murphy what she's expecting from O'Connell's budget.
Yes, and just to put it into perspective, my over-under on the percentage increase is 20%.
The mayor must submit his budget by the end of next month. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You can get those at betterwater.com. We played a clip of Senator John Kennedy a little while ago where he was talking about Chuck Schumer and his popularity. And it's an all-time clip. I'll be honest with you.
Many Democrats are angry at Schumer. Among them right now, we've all seen the news. He's about as popular as chlamydia.
So that made Mason make a poll on the YouTube channel where we ask you to like and subscribe. Which would you rather have? Chuck Schumer or chlamydia?
For a while there, it was 100% chlamydia. And then some of my favorite response came after the shift.
Yes. What? Why would people vote for Chuck Schumer?
Someone voted for Chuck Schumer.
Who was it? Was it?
I think it was Travis.
Travis. He said, "Who the F picked Schumer?"
And my favorite response was Mario saying, "Probably someone with chlamydia."
Oh, we love you guys.
You guys are the best.
This show wouldn't be this show without our listeners, and we appreciate you getting involved however you get involved, whether it's on the text line, the phone lines, or the YouTube chat. You guys are the best.
Many Democrats are angry at Schumer. Among them right now, we've all seen the news. He's about as popular as chlamydia.
Obviously.
Fact check, true. He is. He's not that popular right now with Democrats. There's talks of AOC primarying him. Nancy Pelosi came out of her vodka-induced coma the other day to trash Chuck Schumer. She said that Chuck Schumer gave everything away and that she wouldn't have given anything away.
It's about what comes next. I myself don't give away anything for nothing. And I think that's what happened the other day. We could have, in my view, perhaps gotten them to agree to a third way, which was a bipartisan CR for 4 weeks, in which we could have had bipartisan legislation to go forward.
That's Nancy Pelosi. And did you, if you're watching the video on Super Talk TV, you maybe noticed what I noticed.
I was just about to ask.
She's got a Band-Aid all on her nose. What's going on with that?
Did she have did she get a nose job? Like, did she have surgery?
I didn't hear anything about that.
I didn't either.
I feel like you'd be, a bit too old to go under for a nose job.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with her.
I don't know.
Maybe
it's just a bump.
She's in rough shape.
Yeah.
She's in rough shape. The entire Democrat Party is currently in rough shape. 70% of Democrat voters say their party's messaging is ineffective, citing an over-reliance on elite-centric rhetoric. Yeah, I think that's factual. In fact, Stephen A. Smith, let's make no mistake about it, he's a Democrat. Like, he calls himself a moderate. He calls himself an independent. I think he's been slowly being red-pilled, and he's coming around, and he's more moderate and independent than he's been in the past. But I still think he identifies as a Democrat. He's had some good people on his show lately. He had Candace Owens on his show. He had Tom Homan on his show. I think one of the things that's cool about him is he's open for conversation. But he went on a rant on Wednesday on his show about the Democrats and their inconsistent messaging, their lack of messaging, their lack of substance. The only substance that they have right now is that Trump is bad and we're going to fight Trump. And it's like, we've heard this movie before. So Stephen A., he starts ranting against the Democrats, saying, you should tell us what we should vote for instead of what to vote against. And then he starts calling out his own liberal staff, which was unbelievable.
I got a story to tell the Democratic Party. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Rather than telling us what we should vote against, maybe you should present us with options of what to vote for.
It's a wild concept. I know. Instead of saying vote against Elon, vote against Trump, like what are you going to do to make my life better? Back in the day, the Democrats were the party of the working people. The Democrats were the party of free speech. The Democrats were the party of peace. That is completely flipped around. The Republicans now own that space. And the Democrats don't have any clear messaging on what they want to do to make your life better. They just don't. It's sad. Again, I don't want to interrupt an enemy while they're making a mistake. But currently, as it stands, the Democrat Party is supporting censorship, war, open borders. They're supporting waste and fraud by opposing the DOJ cuts. They're supporting activist judges. They're supporting. They've always supported child sex changes. They support men and women's sports. They support men in women's prisons. And now they're overwhelmingly supporting domestic terrorism when it comes to what we're seeing at Tesla dealerships. This party is in complete disarray. And all that they can tell their base is vote against Trump. Orange man bad. Elon's bad. Doge is bad. But they don't have any alternatives. They never present an alternative. So when Stephen A says, tell me what to vote for, not what to vote against, he hits the nail on the head. Again, I don't want to give them advice, but I think it's important to point out the Democrats, they lost the plot a long time ago.
Just a thought. I mean, my God, are you okay, Michael, with me suggesting that? Are you okay with me, Sherry, suggesting that? Rashawn, Galen, and all of the bunch of leftists that's under my umbrella trying to act like they're independents when they're full of it? I'm talking about my old damn staff. I can say it with love and affection because I don't mind. I'm a centrist. I think my man Rashawn is a centrist. The rest of these damn people working for me, I mean, what left-wing party are you associated with? I mean, you got to believe this stuff. You got to listen to it to hear it. I'm going to say it again. Rather than come to folks with what to vote against, how about telling us what we should vote for?
It's a revolutionary concept. Now, again, I want to be perfectly clear. I think Stephen A. Smith is a Democrat. I think Stephen A. Smith is going to vote blue no matter who. I think a lot of this is lip service. And maybe he's eyeballing a 2028 run. And I think that might be dangerous, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that the Democrat Party is at a position where the Republican Party was in 2015. They need an outsider. They need an outsider. Do you think the Democrat Party is going to be gung ho about Gavin Newsom? Maybe the Dems will, but the moderate and independents, will they be gung ho about Gavin Newsom? No, because look at what he did to California. How about Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota? Don't you know? You think anybody's going to be jazzed up if they're an independent or a moderate to vote for him? AOC, Jasmine Crockett, we can go down the line. It's not so much about the Democrats. It's about those independents and those moderates, that middle. Donald Trump took that middle over. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if Stephen A. Smith decides to run in 2028. And I'll be honest with you, I think Stephen A. Smith would be more dangerous than Michelle Obama. I do. I truly do. I think Stephen A. Smith would be more of a threat to the Republicans than Michelle Obama. I mean, have you seen Michelle Obama lately? Have you seen her? Have you seen what she's doing? Did you see what's going on with her hair? Did you see what? She's got a new look. Michelle Obama on her podcast debuting her new look. I don't know how you describe this. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, you can see. But how would you describe this hairstyle, Mason? It's like three bulbs in like a mohawk, right? Like it would be positioned like a mohawk, but there's gaps. So it's like
Star Wars hairstyle rejects.
Yeah, right. It looks like a tennis ball shaped lump of hair, and then a gap, and then a tennis ball lump shape of hair, and then a gap, and then a tennis ball lump shape of hair.
It's something.
Do you think that that's going to win over more moderates and independents, or Stephen A. Smith saying, tell me what to vote for and not what to vote against?
Brad Erickson in the YouTube chat said, Mikey Mouse.
Mikey Mouse. End wokeness on Twitter absolutely nailed it on what Michelle Obama looks like. Have you seen Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood? It's one of the best movies of all time.
Oh, that's good.
There's a character in the movie played by, that's Marlon Wayans, right? That's Marlon?
Yeah.
It's one of the Wayans brothers. But the character is named Ashtray. And Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood was like one of those first parody movies, the kind of similar to Scary Movie or Not Another Teen Movie, you know, those kind of series. But Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood was a parody of Boys in the Hood and Don't Be a Menace to Society, or Menace to Society. And there was a character in it called Ashtray. And if you don't watch on Supertalk TV, today is your opportunity. Go look at this. And I retweeted it on my X account too, at Chris Hand on Air. She absolutely looked like she's channeling Ashtray from Don't Be a Menace to South Central. Does that make you nervous if Michelle Obama was to run? I don't think Michelle Obama is going to run. I think the Democrats are lost, and I think Michelle Obama is not coming to save them. Trump was talking about the Democrats, why they lost, during an interview with Laura Ingraham the other day, and he's saying, you know, listen, they lost the plot. They don't know what they're doing, and they don't know why they're doing it.
But think of it. The Democrats lost big, and you look at what's happening with Schumer, but the Democrats lost big because of the stupidity of, you know, they're backing these 90% negative things from their standpoint. Men and women sports, transgender for everybody, all of this stuff, they're all for it. And you know, they're still fighting for it. But now they have a new one. We're going to back murderers, killers, and people that hate our country. We're going to back people that hate Israel, want to destroy it, people that are murderers, people that are horrible. We're going to back them. I think that might be a 100% issue for us.
Yeah, do you think that's a winning strategy for the left? I'm not sure that's a winning strategy for the left.
They don't ever find an issue that's like a good
politically
issue.
Very helpful.
No, politically. I mean, this is not backing Khalil is not a great issue, but backing Khalil is better than backing these other, you know, hundreds of people that are really serious criminals. It's probably a step better than that.
Yeah, well, he's probably right. He's probably right about that. Backing Khalil is better than backing these murderers and gangbangers and terrorists. Yeah, that's a better idea. But don't worry. Democrat strategist James Carville, he's pushing a new narrative, which is an old narrative. And I'm sure that this is the kind of messaging that will resonate with your average Democrat. Why has Trump been so buddy-buddy with Putin?
So there's got to be a unified theory that explains everything. It fits into one thing. And of course, we know what that theory is. There is a P-tape or an equivalent of a P-tape.
Oh, the P-tape has returned. James Carville is just going into his bag of 2015 hoaxes, 2016 hoaxes, 2017 hoaxes, and saying, "Let's try this one again." You know the P-tape story, right? That Donald Trump was in a Russian hotel, and noted germaphobe Donald Trump had some ladies of the night over, and he requested to be urinated on. They got it on film, so that's why he's buddy with Vladimir Putin. Is this a strategy that's going to work for the Democrats?
I cannot tell you it's exactly P-tape, but the fact that the Russian, that Putin specifically, has something on Trump, absolutely. And if you see that, then everything else is explained.
Oh yeah, that explains all of it. This is why nobody's taking the Democrat Party seriously right now. This is why on the conservative side, people are like, "Oh, midterms are going to be here soon." I'm like, what do the Democrats have to stand on? I understand. We got to keep improving the economy, but unless Trump and Vance fall flat on their face, why are we worried about midterms? I'm not stressing those whatsoever. And it's because, the media is being dominated by Tesla and this and that right now. But there's actually a lot of big moves happening behind the scenes with Trump's cabinet. They're still working their tail off. I'll tell you what RFK's been up to. I'll tell you what Secretary Doug Burgum's been up to, and more when we get back. It's 11:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Glock Store. Love these guys. Love training at the Glock Store. Love shopping at the Glock Store. If you need something for your Glock, they got it in stock. It's the most popular handgun in America, and it's easy to tell why. You can customize this thing like crazy with performance parts and more. And if you need it for your Glock, they have it at the Glock Store. Competition triggers, night sights, extended controls, red dot optics, mag wells. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But if you need it for your Glock, they have it at the Glock Store. Guaranteed. And here's the best part. If the lights are on and the doors are open, that means there's a gunsmith on duty. And that gunsmith is going to install any of the parts you buy at the Glock Store for free while you wait. I'll say it again. They'll install it for free while you wait. The Glock Store is always open for business online at glockstore.com. And whatever parts you purchase in-store, they'll install for free while you wait. A lot of reasons like the Glock Store. The free parts installation, that's just one of them. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, glockstore.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Governor Bill Lee submitting a letter to the NFL after touring the site of the construction for the new stadium over on the East Bank. We'll tell you all about it at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. And Ken, everybody in the YouTube chat, they know you're here now, and they're saying, "What up, Ken?"
What up?
The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC.
To quote Flavor Flav,
What
the
up?
sky and the ceiling.
Let's go. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom. Headlines on the way. We were talking about the cabinet. We haven't heard much about the cabinet recently. What's the cabinet been up to? Well, Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, you know what he did? He hired the IRS whistleblowers. You remember the IRS whistleblowers in the Hunter Biden case? Yeah, Scott Bessent has hired them to senior roles in the Treasury Department, saying, "I'm pleased to welcome Gary Shipley and Joseph Ziegler to the Treasury Department, where they'll help us drive much-needed cultural reform within the IRS." That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What about RFK? RFK's been working his tail off, too. He's actually trying to get the junk out of baby formula. I don't know if you know this. You know what comes in a lot of American baby formula? Well, your daily dose of corn syrup, of course. Why would babies need a daily dose of corn syrup? Well, you see, spoiler alert, they don't. RFK has announced Operation Stork, and they're going, Stork Speed, and they're going to be looking at the ingredients in infant formula to ensure safety. And to that, I say thank you, and we salute you. On the way here, have you heard the glyphosate commercials that are running on this radio station? Have you heard those commercials? They're interesting, aren't they? Well, we have a friend of the show, Bernadette Pager. She is the Tennessee director for Stand for Health Freedom, and she is going to be joining the show to talk about the bill that is mentioned in those glyphosate commercials. She'll join us when we get back after Ken's newscast, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, the Tennessean says Governor Bill Lee has joined the city in officially bidding to host the 2029 Super Bowl. Lee did it after touring the construction of the new stadium on the East Bank. Nashville city leaders submitted their own letter earlier this month. Secretary of State Marco Rubio praising Qatar for helping the U.S. secure the release of an American man who was held by the Taliban for more than 2 years, George Glazman, an airline mechanic from Atlanta in his mid-60s, taken by the Taliban's intelligence services while traveling through Afghanistan as a tourist in December 2022. He was designated by the U.S. government as wrongfully detained that following year. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, Matt Gutman says Israeli Defense Forces giving Palestinian civilians a choice following the resumption of airstrikes and ground troops operations because Hamas refuses to release all of the hostages.
Death toll since Tuesday morning, a staggering 500-plus people, and more evacuation orders are coming, says Israel's defense minister, saying if Palestinian civilians don't get rid of Hamas on their own, quote, the alternative is complete destruction.
Yeah, for the first time since the ceasefire was broken on Tuesday, Hamas responding, firing 3 rockets on central Israel. Hamas claimed the strikes. Israelis say they shot down one of those rockets. The other 2 fell in open areas. And just in from the European Union, leaders say they are delaying retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods until mid-April. Meanwhile, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell does not expect a recession in the U.S. because of tariffs. And today is the first day of spring. Those are folks gathered at Stonehenge in southeast England to celebrate the spring equinox. Revelers watched the sunrise in the 5,000-year-old monument where archaeologists believe the builders arranged the massive stones as an observatory to mark the changing seasons and perform religious rites. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at Cover Nash. You hear me talking about Shane Ring all the time because Shane is a great guy, a patriot. He loves the radio station, and he advertises here because he wants to help you save some money, and he can save you a lot of money on your health insurance. No matter what your health status is or your income, he could save you up to 30 to 60% on your monthly premiums for health insurance. How does he do that? Well, he does it by shopping the entire market. Shane has 20 years of experience and over 75 different companies to shop from. A lot of these call center agents that you might deal with for health insurance, they have limited coverage, limited options. Shane's not doing that. He's shopping the entire market for you, and some of the plans that he can get you on will even pay you when you use them. It's not too good to be true. He can walk you through the entire process. Go ahead and give Shane a call today and let him know that Chris Hand sent you. He'll show you how much you could be saving on quality coverage right now. 615-465-0023 is the number for Shane, or you can hit his website, covernash.com. But I think a phone call is always more personable, don't you? 615-465-0023 to book an appointment with Shane Ring. Get a quality health plan managed by you, not the government. Covernash.com. "37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Love those guys. Love this next guest, Bernadette Pager. She is the Tennessee director for Stand for Health Freedom. Now, she's got some info. You've probably heard the commercials that have been airing about glyphosate and saving our farmers. And Bernadette actually has a lot of background on this and the bill that is going through the Tennessee legislature. She's actually trying to kill the bill. And before we welcome Bernadette into the show, I do want to point out that she is the Tennessee director for Stand for Health Freedom. But this is an unpaid position. This is a labor of love. She is not a paid activist. She's doing this because she cares about this state very, very much and the health of Americans very, very much. With that being said, Bernadette Pajer is on the line. Welcome to the show.
For having me on.
Of course, of course. All right, so I think it's important for a bit of a reset. We've all heard the ads. What is the bill and what is the bill trying to do?
Okay, the bill is Senate Bill 527 and House Bill 809. The bill is attempting to give civil liability protection, basically protection from lawsuits, for any pesticide as long as it has an EPA-approved label on it. It's pretty simple as that. Now, the legislators, they're being lobbied very heavily. Bayer, who now owns Monsanto, brought the bill to the General Assembly, and similar bills to several states, the farming states across the nation. Several states have killed it. They keep trying to bring it back. Unfortunately, in Georgia, the lies got it all the way to the governor's desk. We're praying the governor will veto it. This is such a bad bill. The legislators are being told, oh, it's just about the label. And you ask them, well, what does that mean? They don't know. Oh, it's just about the label. You can still sue. It's just about the label. They do not understand. So let me explain to your listeners that what it means to not be liable for anything related to the labeling of a pesticide. What types of civil actions lawsuits are related to the label? Number one, failure to warn. In fact, the bill explicitly says they're taking away failure to warn civil actions. And the vast majority of pesticide injury cases fall under failure to warn. Bayer knows it. That's why they wrote the bill this way. They want to get out of all of their lawsuits having to do with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they want civil liability protection for harm their product may cause for their new products, which they plan to roll out in a couple of years, 2028. They're bringing out their glyphosate replacement product. These bills are so bad. The label is also related to breach of warranty, negligence, misbranding, consumer protection, environmental property damage claims, and fraud. All of these you can't get information on unless you can get to the discovery process by bringing an action. It's so deceptive how it's being described. And if you don't mind, let me
it's being described as hurting farmers, and that's kind of like the hook in the ad. You wouldn't want to hurt farmers, would you? Farmers provide our food. You're going to hurt the farmers. Is this bill going to hurt farmers?
Absolutely. Well, the bill is going to hurt farmers. Yeah, but giving Bayer liability protection is going to hurt farmers. You do not want to do that. You need to protect our farmers. That label should not be a lie. And right now, what they're doing is they're convoluting the truth. They're saying, gosh, the EPA won't let us put cancer on the label. Well, there's no way. Bayer has not asked to put cancer on the label. They're fighting lawsuits in complete denial that cancer is related. The problem is that the EPA has been found to be colluding with the EPA, with Bayer, to keep cancer off the label. In fact, in 2019, there was the EPA came out with an assessment, right? And they said glyphosate is not related to cancer, but they were found see if I can find my exact. Anyway, they were forced to retract that by the Ninth Circuit Court because they said you did not follow your own rules for properly evaluating science. So right now we're in limbo. There is no evaluation out there from the EPA. And there's evidence that came out in court that with emails and internal documents, both EPA and Bayer know that this product causes cancer. Now, I'm not even advocating for taking all this away, but what I'm all for regenerative farming and organic farming, but I know that there's a lot of farmers who've been made dependent on these products. But here's the thing, only Bayer is threatening to withdraw their glyphosate products. Glyphosate went off patent in the year 2000. There are many companies that make glyphosate products that farmers can use, and at least half of them are already using non-branded products. There's even a company owned by a man who lives in Iowa who makes glyphosate in Missouri.
Interesting.
They're not going to be, glyphosate isn't going away if we don't give liability protection to all pesticide makers, including Bayer. It's such a lie. So this is going to be, these lies got them through two committees in the House and a Senate committee. But it's been what's called double referred. And on Monday, it's going to be before the Senate Judiciary Committee, Monday at noon. That's Monday the 24th. And we would like as many people as possible to show up. Show up, be seen that you oppose giving up your constitutional right to hold these companies accountable in a court of law. I hope people can show up.
And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I happen to believe that if a company needs liability protections, it's because liabilities exist.
It's ridiculous. The only thing that keeps these mega corporations, and we're talking about a German corporation, and we're talking about Syngenta would be protected. Do you know who owns Syngenta?
Tell us.
The communist state, China. The communist country of China, the state itself of China, owns Syngenta, and they sell products. They would be shielded from civil liability as well. Smaller farmers, they buy other products, or they're turning to regenerative and all of this. This is not the way to go. We need our General Assembly to support farmers to transition away from chemical toxic farming to safe regenerative farming, because it was federal subsidies that incentivizes going to chemicals and GMOs, and it's going to take some federal and state help to get these farmers to stop poisoning. I mean, if the state of Tennessee decided, hey, we're just going to do corn that isn't covered in these pesticides, they could sell it to Mexico. As of now, Mexico will not buy our corn because they don't like the pesticide sprayed on the corn.
So theoretically, we could be making more money if we got away from these chemicals.
Well, that's what and when anybody who supports regenerative organic farming knows that, but the massive big GMO industry is trying to convince the world otherwise, that you cannot live without their chemicals.
So which of our state reps are pushing this, and would you consider them in the pocket of these big companies?
I am not going to allege that anybody is in the pocket. I have no evidence of that. In the Senate, John Stevens has the bill. He's not he has not engaged with me, let's put it that way, willing to have a conversation. In the House, it's Representative Rusty Grills, who I'm in alignment with 99% of the time on issues. He actually has been listening to me, wrangling with me, but he still wants to hold on to the fact that he has been told it's not taking away the right of a farmer or anybody to sue if they get harmed. And so that's why Senator Pody is asking for an AG opinion on this bill. So we do not want any more votes to happen on this until our Attorney General looks at the bill and says exactly what the bill is doing. That's the only attorney that the General Assembly seems to trust. We've, outside, trial attorneys have testified saying, guys, this is what the bill does. It's bad.
If you had a crystal ball and you could see into the future, where do you think Skrmetti lands on that?
I have no idea, but I'm hoping he does his legal due diligence and simply explains what the bill does, what sort of lawsuits will be barred, how many products it impacted, because we've got over 15,000 products that are registered pesticides in the state of Tennessee, because it covers pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, bactericides. It's the products underneath your kitchen sink. It's things you use around the home. It's all the things you use on the farm. It's not just Roundup. It's not just glyphosate.
We're talking with Bernadette Pager. She is the Tennessee director for Stand for Health Freedom. Again, this is an unpaid position. She does not have any financial interest in this. Her interest is in the health of Tennessee and the well-being and the rights of Tennesseans. So I guess what's the call to action currently, Bernadette?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that. So everybody, if you could please go to standforhealthfreedom.com. That's standforhealthfreedom.com, and then click on the Take Action button. If you're on your computer, you'll see a map. Click on Tennessee. If you're on your phone, you'll likely see a drop-down menu and choose Tennessee. And then there you will see the action alert for this bill on that page, and then that will help. That will give you information about the bill and a way to easily contact the Senate Judiciary, which is going to be meeting at noon. And if you at all possible can get to Cordell Hall Building, downtown Nashville on Monday at noon, please be here. They've been hearing from the big farmers, who work with Bayer, who use their products, saying that they support the bill, but those farmers have been misled, thinking it protects them, and it does not. But they need to hear from you. They need to hear that you're in opposition to this dangerous bill that cuts into our constitutional rights.
Bernadette Pager, I appreciate the time. Standforhealthfreedom.com is the website where you can get more information. Thank you again, and thank you for always being a force out there looking out for everybody.
Well, thank you, Chris, for all you do, too. Take care.
Appreciate you. It's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll check in with Chad Benson when we get back right here on Super Talk. 55 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC.
And the Gay Frogs.
Definitely the Gay Frogs. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You know why you need them.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
BetterWater.com. Chad Benson's in studio. I didn't know you could sing.
Oh, I could sing.
Yeah?
I got pipes, man, for days.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Nothing. I'm ready to rock and roll.
So I just gotta point this out. You've been harassing Murphy for the green shirts for the past few days, and here you come in rocking a green shirt.
You know what's funny?
Is this a if you can't beat him, join him kind of thing?
No, it was just weird because he wore green shirts back-to-back days. I'm not going to wear a green shirt tomorrow.
Okay, that's where the issue is.
Yeah. And it was weird, too, because he had a dress jacket on. So he had a green shirt that says, take it or leave it, or one of those things. And I thought, it's an odd outfit. I like it, though.
I liked his Patty's Pub shirt.
Yeah, that was cool.
Patty's Always Sunny is one of the best shows ever made.
So great.
It's unbelievable.
You could not start that show today.
No.
No.
There's no way.
No. Like the first episode, you're like, we're never getting past this. We're going to throw this away. You guys are never getting
I happen to be an expert in bird law. Birds are fake.
I had to take a break after the first episode. I was like, oh, this is where we're starting.
My wife's like, I can't do this show. Everybody just yells all the time. And I'm like, but you have to understand, look it through the lens of they're absolutely hammered all the time. And then it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. So, but it is, and you being from Boston, you're like, yeah, I know people like that.
I know
people like I am an expert in bird law. Yeah. I've been to a Wikipedia page, and I pretty much know everything about birds.
I happen to be an expert. Yeah. Doves are different than hawks. People that have never seen the show have no idea what we're talking about, but people that have seen it are like, nailed it.
That is you could not start that show today.
No.
And it's always funny, too. I always laugh at it. Like, cartoons get away with all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, you do realize they're not real, right? Cartoons are done by human beings who say awful things like Rick from Rick and Morty, who's hilarious. Well, it was until the whole thing went sideways, but still is hilarious. Peter from Family Guy, all that stuff. And I'm like, those are humans that produce that.
Yeah.
South Park humans. I think the left just gave up on South Park. They're like, there's nothing we can do to them.
Nope.
Because nobody listens to anything we have to say.
And South Park, I mean, you go back like 5 years and start watching South Park episodes, and it's like a predictor for the future when it comes to the modern day leftist.
Good God, it was so awesome.
When they had all those episodes where it was like a Macho Man Randy Savage looking guy.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Macho Man. I'm here to do this right now. Yeah, I play Macho Man actually in Canada for Slim Jim.
Snap into a Slim Jim, eh?
So funny. For whatever happened, they had a big dispute. So for the Toronto Raptors and everything, I ended up having to be the Macho Man.
Really?
It was so funny.
Did you identify as Macho Man?
Or I did not identify.
You just did the voice?
It was funny, too, because when I did all the voice, I was doing that. Like I'm here to beat all these lovely, just like me, my name's Linda, joking around. And there were a whole bunch of millennials on the Zoom and everything, and nobody laughed.
Really?
Because they were all so the one guy laughed, but you could tell, he
got in trouble.
I'm gonna get yelled at for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fired. This is Canada.
Oh, geez, I just bought myself 12 hours of Zoom meetings.
Have you ever seen YouTube videos of Macho Man not doing the Macho Man stick? It's wild.
It is wild.
There's videos of him because he was like a pro baseball player.
It's like with Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy's like, I did the voice, and I thought, I did it once, and I didn't think I was going to have to sing like this for the rest of my life. Mr. Lover.
What's a story nobody's paying attention to today?
Oh, my God. We're going to do the NCAA picks. We're picking our picks today. Do you know there's a college, is it Bradley or Birch or something? I don't know. And I'm like, that's not a real college. Somebody's made something up. Somebody snuck in there, and they're not even real. They got their ping pong. Their drunk friends got a ping pong ball in there, and they got. But we're going to do some NCAA, have some fun with that. How far can Tennessee go? Vanderbilt's in it. Who's going to be the surprise team? Talk a little bit about Doge. Relive a year. It was a year ago that all the conservatives got angry over Bud Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't light anything on fire.
They didn't. Although the shooting of the gun while hilarious, but it wasn't at somebody. But it was just like, and the funny thing is,
Kid Rock, he bought that beer to shoot it.
But he doesn't, now he's like, oh, I don't care. It's in the past. I serve it in my bar. I don't care.
Yeah. Yep.
And nobody was threatened. I didn't go over and spit on a beer.
No.
And I don't even drink, so I didn't care.
There was a viral video at that point of somebody on Broadway. Would you like a free Bud Light? And everybody goes, nope. They couldn't give them away.
No.
Somebody took one just to slam it down on the ground.
Yeah, so that's why I think they missed the opportunity to put Dylan in one of the Super Bowl commercials. I thought it would have been hilarious.
Not a fan.
No, but you know what? I would have been like, all right, you know what? You went there. You had the cojones to go back there. So did she.